Hi everyone, it's Joe here for GAK, and I'm here today in the Brighton shop with the legend that is Doug Wimbish. Thanks very much for coming down and having a chat with us.
Man, it's a blessing to be here, my brother.
Oh, thanks so much. So we've already earlier today we've shot a video with Doug on the new Ashdown Be Social, which I think by the time we upload this video that'll already be out. So go and check that out if you're interested in seeing the madness that is the new Ashdown Be Social. Does everything in a box amp. We got some excellent bits of Doug playing on the Ashdown Be Social, and you've started using this now.
Yeah, I have. You know, this is a great amp. I started using this about within the last 6 months, and it's working great for me. And that has given me the opportunity to actually explore other Ashdown products, which we're looking at right now, the ABM 600.
Yeah, which is great. And we've got this hooked up here with the compact 210 and the compact single 15-inch cab. So you're basically over here in the UK. You played a show in Camden last night or on Friday?
Friday.
On Friday.
Played a show with my good friend Adrian Sherwood. We did a sound system there. Andy Weatherall, some other friends and family members to celebrate a new product that Adrian has coming out. And in the process of me doing that, I called my good friends over at Ashdown to see if they could provide me with a larger setup to be able to start to do the gig with. So I rolled into the Jazz Cafe, and lo and behold was a nice big fat Ashdown amplifier waiting for me with a box of cherries on it. And I plugged in, we met, we courted each other for a minute during sound check, and I was able to play while the drummer's making noise as well to see whether proper translation will still take place or will it get lost between the bass drum. Anyway, to cut to the chase, no jokes, all jokes aside, I did my first gig with an Ashdown amplifier on just recently, and it was a great experience. I was using the 8x10 cabinet and the what's the big monster head that has 900 fans in it and stuff like that?
Probably the ABM 1200.
ABM 1200, you know, and set up, plugged in, played, and it started turning some heads. My first time doing a gig with the Ashdown, with those amplifiers. I played with these before, but that was my first time actually doing a gig with it. And realistically, you know, you can't really judge an amplifier until you have a drummer and a sound system and other things around there.
Well, and you're putting about 4 or 5 pedal boards through your average.
That's where it gets fun.
Yeah. So what was your setup in Camden? Was it your first time with an ABM? Was it through a dumbed down version of your sort of Living Colour pedal
I guess
board?
you could say that. I mean, basically what it is my missus actually built a small pedal board for me because I kind of wanted to try to have things that I could dumb down, but not just dumb down, take apart. Like have things you can kind of like this section can go with that section, or I don't need that section, I just use this. So I started coming up with different pieces that I could combine together and expand or shrink into what's needed. So yes, it was, let's just say, a dumbed down version that consisted of, like, you know, some of my standard pedals that I like to use to bastardize sounds with, whammy pedal, Sanzam, a few delays. I like my H9 pedals.
Oh yeah, you've got 4 H9 pedals on your
I'm a massive Eventide H9 fan.
And Pigtronics as well, the Infinity Leaper, that make it on there?
You know, I'm a walking bloody daggone demo for all these companies. If you think about it, they love me because I'm actually using the product, and they're not just sitting up there clean, looking like they've never been touched before. They're all bastardized and broken, knobs all off of them, and, you know, cables coming off.
Isn't one of your H9s painted gold?
Actually, it's 24 karat plated gold.
Of course, yes.
It's funny because it's like, you know, I was laughing when they said when they gave it to me, but what it was almost like a celebration. I was at the NAMM show. I'm hanging out with George Clinton. They made 3 of these gold-plated pedals, and they gave one to myself, Vernon Reid, and George Clinton. Amazing. George takes it and puts a rope on it, and he's walking around the NAMM show with it like a homeboy chain, you know what I mean? Doug, this is great! But he loves it. But the thing is, everything is as good as what you have it going through.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know what I mean? So to be able to play in that situation, unrehearsed, not really using the gear before, outside of being in the showroom or at the factory. But now here I am, and I'm in the line. I'm on the battlefield right now. You know what I mean? I'm going up to. I got to do a gig with Adrian Sherwood there, ready to blow the whole building up. You know what I mean? So you're not going to get more bass or any sounds than what Adrian's going to give you, and Perry just, knocking stuff out the box. So in that environment, in that theater of warfare is where you find out what amps really sound like. The end, run credits. Everything can sound great in the store. Get your ass to the gig. Plug in and see if you still feel the same way.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what separates the men from the boys, So I was able to go in there, and the first thing that happened was my missus was like, she's like, this sounds pretty good. And she's not, and I love my missus. She's gonna tell me straight up, with a very nice, very politely, you know what I mean. But it had good depth, and I was able to get the sonics out that I needed for the event. So, of course, everything you tweak to your liking. I have a certain setup that I like personally. I like to use 410s and 15s because of the smack and the way things translate for like a more dynamic kind of vibe. Living Colour is dynamics.
Yeah, of course.
If I'm playing with the Temptations, I can play in one frequency range, but Living Colour gives you a broad range. So I gotta go up against Will Calhoun doing friggin' Moroccan double paradiddles and 12/19th time or something like that. Yeah, and sure. Vernon being is going out there. I gotta hold the fort down and still have a voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also understanding the role of the bassist to have the fundamentals in place and keep all dogs in the right lanes. That's kind of what we do. We everybody's keeping time, but in a band like Living Colour, the time is Einstein is very present because time is being stretched a lot. And I'm sitting there going, I know he's gonna come back. Oh, he's back in time right now. Here we go. But all being said and done, a good amplifier and a good understanding of what you're capable of doing first, and what we are capable of doing as a group, and the tools that you use to get those frequencies out is really important. So I had a great time. It was my first time doing a gig with an Ashdown amplifier, and I was very happy.
Did you use both your 4 and your 5-string Spectres? Did you use both your 4 and your 5-string Spectres?
Actually, on this particular gig, because it was just it was a quick on and off. I actually used mainly the 4. The 5 didn't come out on this gig. Right. It came out at sound check, to be honest. But the 4 was more than enough. And then I used a U-bass, a Kayla U-bass.
Yeah, the tiny little ukulele.
And it freaks people out when I pull that thing out.
They're great. What a great way to get double bass tones without having to lug a double bass around.
I used to use some of the early Guild Asbury basses that were made years ago with the rubber band strings. You used to have to put talc powder on your fingers and all that kind of stuff. Again, you see an instrument and you pick it up and it's like, wow, man, this is kind of cool, right? So using the traditional setup for these U-basses are like the rubber strings and stuff.
Yeah.
The one that I first was introduced to when I picked it up had more metallic strings.
Oh, really?
So that really opened the lens up for me, quite honestly. It gave me the capability of being able to use my effects.
Yeah, sure.
And smack sound out as opposed to.
I guess when you're losing all that high end.
Yeah, what it is. Yes, it feels good. Can you get other dynamic ranges, or you're kind of like with those strings, it keeps you in that great, beautiful sounding traditional bass sound, upright sound, sort of Moog sound. With you change others, put another set of strings on those, and it's like it can create another frequency. So I'm using it with the steel strings at this particular moment because it freaks people out when you hear the size of that bass coming through pedals, and they're like, "What the hell is going on here?" So I'm still amazed that it sounds that good. But the bottom line is, to me, it's like it's a entree. I like to use my 5, 4, and U-bass right now to be able to give a sonic painting in regards to what's going on for the gigs.
And I guess the 4 string is kind of the one you're best known for. And this is the one. This is the 1987 Spectre Doug Wimbish.
Yeah, this is the one that this bass kind of like is what helped redefine my sound to a certain degree. I grew up playing Fender jazz, all my life, and precisions and stuff. All the Sugarhill Records stuff that I did was a 1972 jazz bass, maple neck, you know, black inlays, you know, the year that they had them. And then anyway, I always heard about Spectre basses. I couldn't afford one, you know. They were quite expensive. As time went on, you know, you get a gig that kind of like gives you a little bit of light. I was working with Mick Jagger, and then things start to come to you a little bit more. Prior to that, they were going right by me. You know what I mean? So it's just the way that the system works here. But you know, I got to thank Jeff Beck for that, because I was at this rehearsal. Kramer was the company that was coming up. Eddie Van Halen was kind of like doing his thing with that. Floyd Roses came out with the, you know, with the guitar. So they bought, you know, I'm at a rehearsal with Jeff, and they bring Jeff friggin' 10 of these guitars to try out. Comes in and just kind of opens the lid, looks at him. Oh, very nice. And he kind of leaves and stuff. So they're kind of, I'm left in the room with like, you know, the guys from Kramer. And then the guys said, oh yeah, well we just took on Spectre. So would you like to check out a Spectre bass? So the same face, yeah, I'll check the Spectre bass out, you know. But I love Jeff, because he's just, you know, Dougie, man, maybe that'll work for you. But you know, he was happy where he was at. You know, it's friggin' Jeff Beck. You know, what are you gonna, you know, he's doing his thing. But again, people come to you all the time when you are a Jeff Beck to give you things, to lure you into something that maybe is not your sound. So, but I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and by default, I was introduced to Spectre because they had just picked the brand up. So, at that particular period, they wouldn't give anybody any instruments. They had a loaner bass. If you were interested in having to use the bass or their brand, here's the bass that we have. You take this and borrow it for a while, and then we'll see. Getting the original loaner bass that Stewart had given out to everybody. Checking that out, I decided that I would like to have, that I would, if given the opportunity to have a bass made for me, I would request Stewart to make a neck thinner. Right. So I went to the factory and we started that process. While I was there, he's, you know, just pretty much the neck is just one, you know, starts off with just one main piece right here, and everything is added to it. So he started shaving it down a little bit, and it's a little bit more. So it took a while. He didn't think it was going to be able to take it, but lo and behold, here we are right now. You know, many moons later, almost 40 years later, and it's still alive and kicking. So, you know, anyway, basically, I managed to get him to shave it down, but not just the neck, the entire body. Right. So I had him kind of like, well, why don't we just make it a little bit thinner all the way across the board for, you know, just to see what it sounds like.
So you made everything lightweight.
Made it lightweight. You know, and here it is today. You know, with
all its battle scars.
Yeah, it's still there. I've never had the frets changed on this bass.
Really? Yeah, it doesn't look like it's had much work done to it over the years, other than just being knocked around.
You know, it's been knocked around. You can see what's happened there. You know what I mean, from just belt buckles and stuff. But you know, again, you know, when you have something that's made well and with love, you get a good product. This was the first real active bass that I had, and I'm blessed to still have it right now.
Great, amazing. Well, thank you very much, Doug. Thanks for coming down and having a chat with us about all the Ashdown gear, about your pedals, and about your...
Thank you for having me, Joe. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.